striking testimony in the Derek Chauvin murder trial. A former police supervisor testified that officers should have ended restraint of George Floyd much sooner than they did. 2 paramedics also took the witness stand yesterday, and one of them told the jurors he initially thought that George Floyd was already dead when Chauvin still had his knee on his neck. Jamie Yuccas is following the trial in Minneapolis. Jamie, a lot of people are wondering, what has Derek Chauvin been thinking and reacting to what has been very damning testimony against him this week? What's his demeanor like in the courtroom so far?
Well, this is what we know, Gayle. At times when Chauvin hears himself on tape, he starts noticeably tapping his feet and taking notes. He seems agitated. We still don't know whether or not he will take the stand, though. George Floyd's girlfriend of 3 years did testify, not only to tell us more about the man Floyd was, but also to preempt one of the defense's central arguments. A warning: the images and video you're about to see are disturbing.
Floyd has this great, deep Southern voice, raspy. He's like, "Sis, you okay, sis?" And I wasn't okay.
Courtney Ross, George Floyd's girlfriend, described how the two met at the shelter where Floyd worked as a security guard.
He said, "Well, can I pray with you?" When I felt alone in this lobby, it was so sweet.
She also talked about her and Floyd's struggles with opioid addiction.
We both suffered from chronic pain. Mine was in my neck and his was in his back. We got addicted and tried really hard to break that addiction many times.
A big part of the defense's strategy centers around Floyd's addiction, claiming that it was largely responsible for his death. Paramedics Derek Smith and Seth Bravender responded to the scene.
I assumed that there was potentially some struggle still because they were still on top of him.
Body camera video shows Smith checking Floyd's vitals while Derek Chauvin still had his knee on Floyd's neck.
What did his condition appear to be to you overall?
In lay terms, I thought he was dead.
Jurors also saw new body camera video of paramedics working frantically to save Floyd's life. Also on the stand, now retired Minneapolis Police Sergeant David Pfluger. That day, 911 operator Jenna Scurry called Pfluger about a possible incident because he was the supervisor at the time. Retired Sergeant Dave Pfluger called Chauvin and eventually made it to the scene.
Did he mention anything about putting his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck or back?
No.
And is the placement of a knee on a subject's neck a use of force?
Yes.
Because Floyd died, the case was sent up the chain of command, and Pfluger was not responsible for a full review of the incident. The defense argued that Pfluger should not answer certain questions because he had not reviewed all the evidence. After an extensive back and forth between prosecutors and the defense, the judge allowed Pfluger to answer this question.
Do you have an opinion as to when the restraint of Mr. Floyd should have ended in this encounter?
Yes.
What is it?
When Mr. Floyd was no longer offering up any resistance to the officers, they could have ended the restraint.
We spoke to a legal expert who told us the defense could try to file a motion for a mistrial because the judge allowed the sergeant to provide what sounded like expert testimony, even though he was not a use of force expert. Meanwhile, the judge told the jurors to expect a short day today. Tony?
All right, Jamie, thank you very much.